Hello and welcome. It's that time again, guys, where we gather around the holler goblin and we tell spooky stories. How's everybody doing? Thank you for the heart. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very cool. Thank you very much. How is everybody? Hopefully, my settings are okay. Everything is reset, so we should hopefully be good to go. Not absolutely not. Um, let's see. All right, guys. Tap that screen. Let's get some people in here. We're gonna give everybody just a couple of minutes to show up, get the notification. Trying to make sure all my settings are straight. Yes. All right. All right, guys. Who's ready for some spooky stories tonight? Hopefully, hey, Harry. Hopefully everything works now. Let's see. Tap that screen, send some hearts. Let's get on the FYP so that we can get some stories going. If you are new here, we do spooky stories. Oh, thank you for the little thingamabob. It's cute. We do spooky stories, we do paranormal stories, extraterrestrial stories, cryptid stories, unexplained in general, glitch in the matrix, and just anything that is spooky to you. We want to hear your spookiest spooky story. That's what we ask. You come up and share. And like I said, guest box is open. If anybody wants to hop in, share a story. I need a phrase for that one. One of the streamers I watch, he always says arrivederci or arrivederci. I can't say it the right way, I don't think. I need some AI phrases, guys. Maybe that's something we could like work on over in the Discord. So that I'll have like a little funny catchphrase for every single time. Just a second. Let's see. All right, guys. We're getting out there. We're getting some numbers. Tap, tap, tap. Send some hearts. Let's get on the FYP. Get some people in here. Hello.
Where's your Chewy at?
What is it?
Where's your Chewy? You know, like talk shows, they have the little side guy doing your. Where's your partner?
I have no idea.
Usually he's on here with you. I'm. It's like Ed McMahon, like Johnny Carson without Ed McMahon.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where he is. I don't know if he's coming or not.
Oh, geez. How are you doing today?
Oh, hanging in there, you know. How about you?
Well, you know, I'm doing all right. It's Thursday. One more day closer to Friday, I guess. Yeah, so I just thought I'd stop off and see how everybody's doing and give you do a story tonight. You know, I'm always glad to tell people stories about my life and about the spooks in our life, huh? There's so many
Yeah,
of
for
them
sure.
that there's things that are always happening to us that we can't explain or we don't want to explain. Like so a lot of this stuff I tell you, it's about my life. And this one here is pretty close to what's happened in my life. I lost my dad when I was 19 years old. He got what's the word you guys use? On unkilled or on unlived or whatever, and lost him. And he was 35 years old. Well, the man that did it was his best friend, and it was tragic. I mean, I still think about my dad. Like I said, my dad was one one of my most favorite people in the world. But and growing up with him, he was always trying to teach me stuff. Well, when he left, there was a hole left in my life, in my grandma's and everybody's, because my dad was a senator. And the man that took him, he was touched. He was touched in the other way. I told you my dad was touched with good in his life. And all this other stuff, People loved him, and he was good. He always had a smile on his face, and he always had something good to say. Well, his friend was a little the opposite. I mean, they were good friends, and they didn't just like any other set of friends. They didn't always see eye to eye. That's just human nature. And they grew up together, really good friends. And so this gentleman. Oh,
Oh, wow. Thank
it's,
you
yeah,
for the gift. Thank you so
yeah,
much
that
for
is a
that. I
cool one.
appreciate
I've
that.
never seen that
Yeah, I've
one.
never seen that before.
Um, so the gentleman that had taken my dad's life, he because of Indian country is really tough on finding justice for a lot of things. I hate to talk like that, but justice is hard to find in our country. And so he walked after what happened. We weren't happy about it, but there were stories about him, and one of the stories I heard is one night he was out partying with some friends, and they were cruising around, they were doing stuff, and they were going all over the place. And they had to stop off and pick up some money. They were drinking, and so they stopped. And when they stopped, they ran in real quick to get some money from their family or go out and get some more booze. Well, they headed in. He said, "Well, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait. I'm just going to have, he's sitting there drinking his beer." And people was like, "Okay, yeah, sure, no problem." And they went in, and then they come back out. And as they were coming out, there's a cat jumping out of that door of his door. And he's like, "Oh, where'd the cat come from?" He says, "Oh, what cat?" And he said, "That one that just jumped out." He says, "Well, that wasn't a cat. That was my friend." And he said, "Your friend?" "Yeah." Well, they all looked for that cat. They looked where that cat was going. And as that cat went over, it was a woman. And something about her, as you're looking at this woman, gave you that feeling of dread, evil, darkness. So they think that he had been touched by darkness. He'd done so much after for so long. He'd been in prison and all this other stuff. So they think that he was touched by the devil. Is what I'm trying to say. And he had no remorse for what he did. And I think that's true, that he was touched by the dark one. It was a bad time when we lost my dad to him. Like I said, my dad had. I, did I tell you guys the story about? I told you the stories about my dad when he made his prediction.
Yeah, you did.
So that was the tragedy. He got murdered. He got unkilled or whatever. He was taken from us, and that was a while back. And the man that did it was his friend, but they also think that he was touched by the devil. Darkness had touched his soul, and he just it's scary. I mean, it's scary when you think about that. We want to blame our brains and our, how we're wired and stuff, but sometimes he actually, the devil does walk amongst us, and he does make us do things that we shouldn't have done. To this day, that man took my dad. When there's there's a, there's just no forgiving for what he did. And one of the things my auntie was saying was that when things get bad, it's not going to be good. But that's, like I said, the town of Browning, Montana I think it's been possessed by the devil. And there's a lot of things that go on there that people just, after a while, we kind of start turning a blind eye, and things that happen that we can't explain with the. There's one story. I'll tell you one more story about something like that. One night, so my
Wow,
friend,
thank you for the gifts.
my one friend, she was telling me that they'd been out drinking. They drank all night long, and they were cruising around, and they were looking. They were just getting ready to go home. They figured they'd stop off at one more friend's and have one more drink. And they were like, "Well, let's go." And if you weren't from, and you head east, there's a place called Cutbank. Well, that's where they were going. They were going towards Cutbank, and they were going down that road. And as they were going down that road, this car comes zooming through, almost ran them off the road, and they were like, "Hey, what the?" Well, they kind of chased that car, but that car always just seemed a little ahead of them. Finally, he pulled over. And he pulled over, and when they pulled over, he's kind of rolled his window down. And she said, when you looked at him, he was pretty. He was a pretty Indian man, long braids, and really a pretty smile. She said, but that it didn't feel right. That whole look about him didn't look good. Something, it was just, she said, it was like looking at like something like plastic was wrapped around him. And he was like, "What's up?" He says, I'm sorry about running you off the road." He said, "You know what? I'll make it up to you. Let's go grab a beer." And there was two other people in the car with her. And she was like, I don't know. And he says, "We just be careful, we'd have beer with you, but we're going to get ready and go home." He said, "Oh, okay, yeah." And he looked at them both. He looked at all of them, and he says, "I'll see you guys later." And just as they said that, they took off, and he went the other way. He turned around and went the other way, and they were like, "Oh man, that was." They were saying, "That guy was scary. Whoever who he was." And she was like, "Whatever happened to him, we turned around and we looked, and right where the car and him were gone from that road." But they said they've always wondered about that man, but they always figured that was the devil trying to tempt them that night to go with him. And she said, "We don't know what would have happened if we'd have ended up driving with him." But she says there was no good come from it. She slowed down a little bit of her drinking, but she says that day it really scared me that the devil had made the attempt to take me with her. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's this, we can't close our eyes and say he's not here, because it's not like Harry Potter's talking about Voldemort. But we have to acknowledge him, because if we acknowledge him, we put the light on him, and he can't always hide. and he can't always do the stuff that he does. And so whenever whenever the old saying about when a good man doesn't do good things, or I can't remember, but basically just saying you don't do anything, you're letting I say you're letting evil win. And so my firm belief is that we have to know him to fight him. Thank you very much. I was feeling a little dark tonight, so.
Yeah, we appreciate you. I hope you get to feeling better.
Oh, I'm in a great mood, man. I'm happy. Well, happy as can be, I guess. You have a good one. I'm gonna sit here and listen to you
Thanks, you
guys
too.
now.
Alrighty, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to the person in the comments that keeps sending those enormous flashy gifts. I've never even seen those things before. I have no
Yeah,
idea what they are.
that was crazy.
Wow, I really appreciate that. That is crazy. Guys, tap the screen. Let's get some people in here. Tap, tap, tap. Do the snoop boops. Tap as much as you possibly can. We got to get on to the FYP so that we can attract some people. More hearts means more people, means more ghost stories. If you are new here, we do paranormal stories, extraterrestrial stories, cryptid stories, unexplained stories, glitch of the matrix stories. We do it all. Cat hand, very cool. Meow meow. I've got to come up with some phrases. I don't know.
Oh,
Let's
Holly thinks that
see.
Holly thinks she can do my job. Let's see it, Holly.
Yeah, come on up, Holly, and we'll kick Chris off, and you can co-host.
Yeah, you can co-host for 3 hours, and we'll see how that goes.
Well, nobody's twisting your arm, kind sir.
Yeah, yeah, you are. I'm not treated very well around here, guys. I don't get
Guys,
fed.
watch me kick Chris. I'm gonna kick him.
Oh my gosh,
Keep
Harry.
complaining. I'll kick you clean off of here, Chris.
No,
Holy
don't.
cow! Wow, what is that?
Oh
Oh my
shoot.
god, did you see that? That's insane. Thank you so much for that. Wow.
Wow.
What
Um,
even was that? Oh my god.
I haven't even seen gifts with like noise and stuff like that before. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is amazing. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. So
Wow.
much.
You're getting spoiled over here, Sarah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen any of those before either. Well, guys, let's get some stories in here. The guest box is open. If anybody has any stories, come up and share with us. What kind of stories? Let's see. I would like to hear. You know what? I'd like to hear some Ouija board stories tonight. I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Anybody's got any Ouija board stories? Extra points for that. And if you want to, guys, feel free to spam the comments with sub emojis. We got Bigfoot. We got Mothman. We've got, let's see, we got a lizard person. You guys like lizard people? We got lizard people. Where's he at? There he is. Lizard person. Um, yeah, just spam the comments. And if you don't care, keep tapping the screen until we get our numbers back up. Get some people in here. Do a little bit of alien abduction. Um,
Have you plugged the? Oh,
have we got somebody?
I think we do.
We sure do.
I think.
Hello, welcome.
Hey guys, hello. Uh, so I have a story about it's an old story, a skinwalker story, and this story was told to me by one of my uncles. He used to live in the mountains in Chusca Mountains around New Mexico and going towards Gallup, in that area. And uh, old Navajo people live back there, and used to have different kinds of stories. And I had this old story. It kind of goes like this. It was like it was one of his relatives. I think it was his mother or his father's people lived out there, and they were living in a hogan. And they kind of they were old school, so they brought in their own water and chopped their own woods and kind of just lived kind of simple like that, herd sheep, stuff like that. And anyhow, so they were living out there, and he said one night, there's a family out there, and there's a mom, dad, some little children that they have. And anyhow, so the dad woke up to some strange noises, and he decided to investigate. Decided to go take a look, see what this noise was. And said he didn't really know what it was. It was just kind of something outside moving around. And he went outside his whole gun. He's looking around, and he's seen this old lady in this coyote skin, and she was digging a hole. And he said he can really hear her digging too, and she was digging pretty fast, and she's over there digging up something, putting some of the family's belongings in that hole, trying to witchcraft them. And he said he took out his rifle, and he put some ashes on the bullet, and he aimed that rifle towards that skinwalker. And the person, he is a coyote. He said he shot it, and it just took off real fast, he said. And he as soon as that happened, he went to his brother's house next door, and he kind of tell him what happened. And they he explained where he had shot that skinwalker, and he in the mountain areas. And they found that that skinwalker was wounded, and they followed that coyote, and there's a lot of blood, they said. And they found this cabin kind of in the distance. There was a old lady that lived there. There's a blood going that way. And it was really, really strange that they figured out it was that lady that was the skinwalker, and they had unalived her. So that was the story.
Oh, wow.
It was an old story that was told to me a while back. And I don't know, yesterday when I was talking about my alien story, I was gonna tell that story about that skinwalker. Us Navajos, we have a really strict how do you say, we have really strict beliefs about that. We're really strict. We don't even saying the name, you're provoking that that type of evil, you're calling it out, and that's why we don't say that's SW name at night. I just call it the SW, but even then, my lady friend here gets kind of scared of it. She's just like, "Why are you saying that?" Even the word SW is kind of forbidden, so we don't try to not say it too much around this house. But this show kind of goes on at night, and I have a friend that has a paranormal show as well, and she does her own podcast too. And I try not to say that on her show at night also. And I know she has a lot of questions about it, but I try not to. I try not to talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally understand.
Well, thanks for letting me share.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. We appreciate that.
I don't know, what should I call you, Miss Paranormal?
Sarah. My name is Sarah.
All right. Oh, thank you, Sarah. You call
Thanks.
me Paranormal Sarah.
Yep, that's me.
And
Have a good
Paranormal
night.
Chris. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for letting me come up.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Paranormal
Oh,
Sarah.
wow. I am not sure how to pronounce your name, but whoever you are sending all those gifts, that is amazing. And wow, I don't even know. Like, are you for real right now? I mean, is this really happening? Because this is kind of crazy, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, and to be honest, like I don't care what you type in the chat. I mean, like you've sent so many gifts, you can type whatever you want. So you go right ahead. But yeah, wow, holy cow, that is insane. I don't even know. Like, is this real life right now? Holy cow. Woo! Oh my
Uh-oh.
God, there's another one. Thank you so much. I feel like you should stop though because like I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy. Nobody's ever sent me that many gifts. That's insane. Um, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so very much. And thank you, Holly. I appreciate that so much. All right, guys, tap the screen. Let's get some people in here. Um, let's see. Yeah, they are beautiful gifts. I've never even seen those types of gifts before. I'm speechless. Thank you so much. Let's see. Wowie, wow, wow. Okay. So yeah, I'm hoping for some Ouija board stories tonight, guys. If you have a story, the guest box is open. Feel free to come up and share with us. Wowie, wow, wow. What is that one called? A couch potato. A couch potato.
Paranormal Chris. Who's Sally?
Thank you.
You do deserve the gift, sir.
That is insane. You know what? How do I pronounce that name? Is it Salam?
I don't know. Just
Salam. Feel free to shower my co-host with gifts as well.
no.
If you don't have to keep sending them to me. You can send Chris some as well.
Don't spend your money on me, guys. I'm just gonna call him J7. Uh, yeah, we had a wild night on the Discord last night, guys. I can't really talk. I can't even talk about it here, but I'm telling you that subscription is worth it.
Wowie, wow, wow. Yeah, we had a crazy time in the Discord. It was the
It was a
videos
good
we
time.
watched. It was a sight to behold. We watched a man dig pieces of Bigfoot out of a freezer from 1956, and then talk about how his father once upon a time brought them to the dinner table at Thanksgiving, and it ruined his mother and father's marriage. And broke up their family and cost them everything. It was insane. I don't know. We had a time last night, guys. There was like, holy shit, what was there, 8 of us in the Discord last night? It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello, welcome.
Hey guys, I've been up here before. You said you wanted to hear about a Ouija board. When I was about 5 or 6, my parents bought this old New England home. It was about 300 years old at the time. And it had double walls. And we went exploring, and there were some little pieces of, there was some furniture that was left behind. There was an old feather bed that was left in my mother and father's room that they were going to use for their room. And there was a bunch of old crates underneath the bed with old medicine bottles. And upstairs there was an old Victorian picture hanging in one of the little rooms. When you walk up over the stairs, there was a little tiny bedroom to the right, and there was a little tiny bedroom to the left, and the rest of the whole upstairs was like a great big gigantic attic. And me and my cousin went exploring up in what would be my brother's room, the room off to the right. And we noticed that when we got in his closet, there was like a little slit in the back of the closet that we could fit in through. And we crawled through it. And we crawled into it. And we dragged out this old can of beans. There was another medicine bottle in there. And there was an old Ouija board. Really, really old Ouija board. Which probably in hindsight now, it's probably worth a lot of money. Like a lot of money. Well, my mom said, get rid of it. Get rid of it. I don't want it in the house. My father took it to the dump. That was probably about 4 or 5 miles away to the dump. A few days later, the Ouija board actually ended up back in our house. And my mother confronted my father and said, I thought you took it to the dump. I thought it was on the truck with the garbage and that you took it to the... He said, I did. He goes, I don't know how this happened, but let me see it. I'll put it on the truck again. When I'm going down to go into town, he goes, I will take it to the dump and throw it again. This happened like 3 times that he took this thing to the dump and it came back. The second time, she's like, how? She goes, by this time you got to be playing a joke on me. And he's like, I'm not. He goes, the second time, Carol, he goes, I took that board and winged it down over the mound of garbage at the dump. He goes, there is no way in holy old hell that anyone could go down over that mound of garbage and get that. And that could end up back here. And finally, he actually took it out in the burn barrel and he burnt it. And he made sure it was like burnt. And that's the only way that we were able to get rid of that board. But it kept coming back when it was thrown over the dump. Yep. There was a lot of weird things that happened in that old house.
Yeah. And I love stories like that. And we actually had, there was a guy came up a few weeks ago and told a story kind of similar to that. And I know somebody personally from my childhood who had kind of a similar thing happen. Mm-hmm. And it just, it's like, I can't imagine experiencing something like that. That's got to be like the trippiest thing ever.
It's weird. It's really, really weird. When you get rid of something and you're flinging it down over a heap of garbage, and for that to come back, you wonder, how did that happen? Did it manifest back into the house? Did it fly its way back to the house? How did it bring itself back in the house? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are the questions that you have in your head. You try to. There's no rationalizing it. It's just it's insane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. That is so wild.
Yeah. So that was that for that one. So yeah,
Very cool. We appreciate you coming up and sharing that with us.
you're welcome. I'm waiting to hear other people's stories too. I love
Yeah,
coming in
hopefully we
here.
have a good night tonight. We'll have some
Yeah,
good stories.
yeah, I hope so. I love coming in here and listening to everybody. Yep. Okay, well that was that. And
Alrighty.
I'll be down here listening for other folks too.
Okie dokie. Sounds good.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. Um, all right. Guest box is open, guys. Wow, I am still like, I'm baffled that that person sent that many gifts. That's insane. Holy cow. I feel like I'm getting punked right now. Oh my god. Guest box is open. If you have a spooky story you want to come up and share, feel free. Um, if you have a spooky story but you don't have 200 followers, feel free to type it out in the comments. That's fine, perfectly fine. We can do that here.
Yeah.
In the meantime, tap the screen, tippity tap tap, snoop boop everywhere. You could do me a snoop boop. You could do him a snoop boop. I don't think you could. You can't snoop boop Chris, but you can click on Chris and follow him, especially if you love horror movies and you love horror art, because he is a horror artist and he does very cool things. Yes, we just had a good story. If you just tuned in, we do paranormal stories here. We gather around the holler goblin and we tell spooky stories, paranormal stories, extraterrestrial stories, cryptid stories, unexplained stories, glitch in the matrix stories, or just weird stuff in general. It doesn't even have to be like paranormal, supernatural. It could just be something really scary that happened to you one time. We do ask that you watch your language. You do have to be at least 18 years of age and have 200 followers at the very least to come up and share your story. But other than that, everybody is welcome. So, your childhood home was haunted. Very cool. Do you have any stories you might want to tell us about it? We would love to hear them. Yeah, I think we should manifest a haunted house show tonight. I think that's yeah. I
Yeah,
feel like
that'd be
that's what
cool.
we're gonna get. Oh wow, yeah, that's got to be tough, Chris. Not horror Chris, but comments Chris.
It's tough for me too.
It is also tough for you. Yes, that's true.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Hello, good evening.
Good. We're having a little bit of trouble hearing you though. You're a little bit muffled.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, can hear you good.
Perfect. I said good evening. Um, my name's Ryan, and this story took place in Northern California. Um, at the end of 2019, the beginning of 2020, when it really started to pick up activity in the house I was staying in. This is located in South Sacramento. There's a house there that is pretty severely haunted. Um, Before I knew it was haunted, I stayed in there for about 6 months. I was staying there with a good friend of mine. And one night I woke up, used the restroom about 2:20 in the morning, and I hear talking. And this talking sounds like if it's on the other side of the wall, like coming from outside. And it kind of took me a second to get my things together since I had just woken up. I grabbed my cell phone and my dog and a baseball bat and went out to the backyard because it sounded like as if a conversation was going on in my backyard or the backyard where I was staying. When I came out the French doors and that leads to the backyard, I happened to look over the fence on both sides of the house. There was no one there. And then, I made sure and try to, scope along the side of the house to see if maybe someone had the window open and they were talking. Nothing, no one at all, no activity outside. I proceeded to go towards the horizontal fence of the backyard and looked over the fence and saw what appeared to be, at the time, it looked like, I thought it was like a little girl. And she was in a fetal position. And right when I looked over this fence, I was standing on a metal planter box, because the fence was like, I don't know, I would say 6 feet tall, and I'm 5'10". So I sit on top of this box to get a clear view of what I was looking at. And like I said, right when I looked over the fence, she made eye contact with me immediately. And she was talking to me. And I was sitting there looking at her for like a good couple minutes, and she was talking to me, looking at me in my eyes. And she was about 35, 40 feet away from me. And she was on a school ground. And behind this fence where I was staying was an elementary school. And like I said, she was talking to me for like a good couple minutes. I was talking back. And then she stood up. And when she stood up, she was about 10 to 12 inches tall. And she was every inch of her body was covered in a gold glitter. And she was very pretty, super pretty. And she also, it wasn't until when she turned, and when she turned to walk out of the line of sight, is because I pulled up my cell phone. And it took a second to get it on the camera mode. And I took a picture. I took 2 pictures. And she didn't like that. She didn't like the fact that I was taking pictures of her. And she started walking, like I said, out of the line of sight, but she was still looking over her shoulder, looking at me in my eyes the whole way. And she, I guess they have the ability to erase themselves from the picture, because in the first picture that I took, she appeared, she was in the picture for like, I would say 15, 20 minutes. And then it disappeared. She disappeared in the picture. The second picture, I have a picture of her. And I've been meaning to tell this story, but yesterday It seemed like some malfunctions were going on. So
Yeah, for sure.
I waited until tonight to tell the story because, first of all, it's 100% true. That day really made me realize, like, spirits are real. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. But let me kind of finish the story here. When she turned and walked away after I got the first picture, I realized she had wings as well. And at first I thought, some little kid, broke out of their house. Someone lost their little girl. Because I didn't really know what I was looking at. Once I realized that she was only 10 to 12 inches tall. There was the obvious thought of maybe a fairy, maybe just a little person. I don't know. I've never seen a person that was 10 inches to 12 inches tall. So, yeah. There's a picture on my my not my Facebook, my TikTok that I uploaded, so that if anyone who's listening wants to see this picture, you can request to be my friend, and I'll add you, and you can see for yourself. But I circled this elemental is what it was. It was a female elemental. And how I know that is because I showed the picture to a priest, and right away the priest knew what it was. He said it was an elemental, and it was a female elemental, and which is super rare because mostly when you see like elementals, you see males. And I guess it's super rare to see a female. Well, she was a female for sure. And he also said that they normally are on sacred grounds. Well, I did some research on the house that I was staying in, and it was built on sacred grounds, and it also had a tree in the front yard that was hundreds of years old, a huge tree, and they had cut it down while I was staying there. The owner, which was my friend and her husband, and they say that they haunt the people on the land of the sacred grounds until whatever property was destroyed is replaced. So I believe that this was an encounter that I had where it was haunting the people that lived there in the house, because it wasn't the first incident. There was probably about a dozen incidents where I seen a spirit in that house or around that house. And I have pictures. There's also a second picture on my TikTok where I take a picture of a room that no one was in, and in the middle of the mirror you see a demon, and his eyes are blacked out. You can check it out. It's also on my picture albums on my TikTok. So yeah, that's my story.
Very cool, and I'm so glad that you came back tonight to share that story with us. And I do apologize for the trouble that we were having yesterday. But thank you so much for coming up and telling us about that.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good night.
You too.
Very cool. And I
Yeah.
wish Ali was here because this is right up Ali's alley, and
Right.
I know he would have so much to say about it. I really wish he was here, but he never gets here before midnight. So, but maybe when he gets here, bring him up and tell him what he missed.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll show you the picture. I think I've showed it in here before, but I'll let me go and get it. I'll show you the picture of the little girl that was here
Okay,
uh, in my house. Let me see. I gotta go
I'll put you
retrieve
on
it.
the big screen there so that you can show
Okay.
us.
Okay. I gotta go and retrieve this. It's in a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
But this is a little girl that I was taking pictures because I get orbs and I do videos at night sometimes. And then I just started snapping pictures and taking pictures. And I didn't realize until I looked back at my pictures that she was sitting there. And it was like she was knelt down on her knees and she had her arm up on the coffee table. Let me see. I'm getting down here. Where is it? She had her arm up on the coffee table. Um, I'll show the far away picture and then let me see what will come up. There we go. There we go. And you can see the puffiness of her little sleeve and her white hair and her face. And it looked like she was holding something in front of her. But I've experienced things like this my entire life. These type of things have always happened to me, and then when I had my children, they experienced things, and yeah. And I never let I when my kids were growing up, I never really talked about the things that I experienced. I always let them kind of, I want to see where they were going to go with it and come into it on their own. And as when they got in high school, we were actually living in an old farmhouse. And that's when they started experiencing things for themselves. In junior high and high school is when they started. Um, my son can see spirits. He physically like sees them. They will actually come to him. Yeah. And those things that you see burning, those are like the battery candles. A lot of people were saying, well, there was candle, it's smoke, it's this, it's that. And I'm like, no, they're all battery operated. Yep. So that was that. Yep. I'll see if
Yeah,
I
that's
can.
cool.
Yeah, I'll see if I can't pull up the. Let me see if I can't get the closer one of the one that's closer. Let me see. Um, we'll go down here and share a closer picture of it. There we go.
Yeah, I guess it does look like a little
Yep.
child, right? Yeah.
Yep. And she just had like her arm up on the coffee table, like and knelt down on her knees. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody in the comments seems to really like it too.
Um. I have another one somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where it is. I'm gonna have to go and find out where it's at. But my daughter was in a cemetery, and she took a picture of she was starting to walk out of the cemetery, and she heard a voice call her name and told her to turn around. And when she did, something just told her in her head, take a picture. And so she took a picture, and the voice said, don't leave. I don't want you to leave. And she goes, well, I have to leave. And when she got in her car, she was going through the pictures, and she looked at that, and there is a picture of a man in like a bolo hat, and you can just, it's so clear. It is so clear. And you can see the hat on his head, you can see his face, and you can see like his jacket that he has on. And but I'll have to see if I can find that and see if I can't bring it up sometime to you guys so you guys can see that one too.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay?
Yeah,
All
definitely.
right. Sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Very cool. All right, guys, tap the screen, send some hearts. Let's get on the FYP so we can get some people in here. If you are new here, we tend to gather around the Holler Goblin from time to time and tell spooky stories, paranormal stories, extraterrestrial stories, cryptid stories, weird stuff in general, and glitch in the Matrix stories. And I don't understand those, so you guys need to come up and tell me about them so that I have a better understanding of glitch in the Matrix stories. But if you have any of those stories, feel free to hop in the guest box, come up, share with us. Don't be nervous, don't be shy. We're just a bunch of nerdy kids who like spooky things.
Yeah.
We do have a subscription here on the channel. I think it's the best subscription. It's the best. People come up to me on the street, they say it's the best subscription. There's nobody else has a better subscription on TikTok than you. And I agree. I have to agree with these people. They come up to me with tears in their eyes and they tell me, sir, it's the best. And I say, you know what, you're right. And it's the best because you get really cool little paranormal emojis that I make with my own two very small hands. They're a little orange too. But also, you get access to the Discord where you could come and watch really wild videos with us. Like last night.
Oh yeah.
We
For
watched
once it's yeah, for
Go
once
ahead.
it's true that it got wild. I can actually say that and not lie about it.
Yep, it got wild. Oh my gosh.
Hey, watched it.
Hello.
Hey everyone. So last night in the Discord, I said I would tell that story about my friend's experience with the goat man. So if anyone here hasn't heard me talk about that thing, it's on my reservation and on the Blackfeet Res in Montana. It's around and many people have seen it. But it's one of those things to where even in our community, if the people that have witnessed it talk about it, sometimes people look at them like they're kind of nuts. But it's a thing and it's real and it's there. I don't know what else to say, but so he stays in this place called FEMAville. What it is a bunch of the FEMA trailers, and they were kind of made into this community out by the railroad tracks. It would be south of our railroad tracks on the road leading to another community called Heart Butte. So anyways, out there, right before that to the north, there's a big coulee. It's called Depot Coulee. That is where my other buddy, the cop, chased it into that tunnel, and it was trying to motion them in there when they finally kind of got it cornered and their lights were shining in there. So anyways, this guy's telling me the story, this other guy, and he lived out there in one of those trailers, and one night he starts hearing this tapping on his window. It's really silent at first, then just gets continually louder and louder and louder until it's almost like a knock, a really aggressive knock on his window. He gets up to look and there's nothing there. And he's looking around, like out the window, looking at it, and in our way that's like a big no-no, man. You don't look out the window, so I don't know why he was doing that. But he looked out the window at night and he could see a footprint, just one human print. And he even went out the next day and he was looking and he seen just one human print. Well, the things keep happening. They keep knocking on the side of the trailer, or he would hear breathing outside that window. So finally, one night, and all of these times, most of them all happened from 2 to 3 in the morning and would end at 6. The harassment that this thing would do to them. And this happened to his girlfriend's grandma, and I want to say they're a sister-in-law maybe. And so there was 4 of them there, and it happened all the time to them. So one of the nights he actually gets up, he goes outside and he runs around the house because he hears it again, and it's breathing and it's tapping and it's banging and doing all these things. He grabs his baseball bat and he runs out there because he thinks it's like a I don't know if we can say this, but a crackhead. He thinks it's somebody like that out there, and so he's looking around and he finally sees it for the first time, but he can only see one side of it. Now, the other side was too dark, but he's seen one side of it, and this thing was 8 to 9 feet tall, bald head, had like this little point on its head. He thinks it's a little tiny horn, and the eyes were huge, like imagine like bug eyes, right? But they're on the side of the head. The side that he could see, the human side that he could see, it was on the side of his head. So I don't know why he's chasing it, but he tries to chase it off. And it runs. It even gets on all fours, and it's running like on its hands and its feet, and it's running around. So all these times he heard it and he didn't see it, he would go out and look for tracks, and he would only see one human footprint. And until one night it was messing around, it was on the porch and things like that. And then the next day he went out and looked, he would see an alternating human print and like the split hoof print. Alternating. Human split hoof. Human split hoof. And he follows them for a ways, and then they just disappear. He can't find where they lead. And on one of these occasions, they're all scared. The grandma, they're all scared. He like wakes them up. Hey, this stuff's going on. That thing's here again. And so he gets his pew pew and he loads one round. And he goes out and he's gonna actually fire upon it. And as he goes out and he looks, he sees it again, and it starts running. This time he got a better look at it. So as it's standing just vertically, half of it's a man, like half of its face is a man, and the other half is all animal. And he can't tell, he's like, well, let's just call it the goat man. He said, because I don't know what else to call that thing. And it would run from him. He would chase it and it would run. And this night he chased it with his gun. For instructional purposes only. He says, as he's chasing it with his pew pew, he follows, he's trying to keep up with it. He says, but the thing's running like, 15, 20 miles an hour, and it's doing tricks. I asked him, like, what do you mean tricks? He says, like it would be running full blast on upright. He says, then it would turn around and run backwards just as fast, like it was taunting me. And he said, I could hear it laughing. It would laugh. It kept laughing at me. And he says, then it would do these weird little tricks, like it would kind of, do cartwheels and stuff like that, like it was taunting me. So I chased it. Here's this blue building out there, used to be the old pencil factory. It had a fire, but it's still like standing. It's kind of like all just junk building. It runs near that and ducks around the corner. And so he ducks around the corner too to keep chasing it. And it took off across the tracks, and it goes down by that Depot Coulee place. So he turns around and he goes back, and he's jogging back, and next thing you know, he starts running faster because he hears it behind him all of a sudden. And I have no idea why this guy's chasing it. He's so gutsy. I mean, I would not chase that thing. And so he's running from it, and he could hear it right behind him. He hears a human footprint and a hoof footprint alternating, chasing him. He gets back up to the house, and he doesn't see it. He runs into the house all scared. looking around out the windows, and he doesn't see it. Well, eventually he finally, on another night, because this happened to them like 40 times, and he actually seen it like 10 times. And so one of the times he actually chases it down into Depot Cooley, and it runs into that tunnel where it's been chased before. He said, I think that's his safe place, or like his little, place where he likes to hide out. Because that's where it ran. And a lot of these times he called the cops. The cops were there, and the cops were, you know, asking him questions, and they're kind of freaked out by it too, because it's known by the cops too. Finally, they keep getting calls from him, and he says, look, if you need to, you have our permission to go ahead and fire at it. You got our permission. He says, okay, I got your permission. I'll do that, man. And unfortunately, he never did get a shot off at it, or fortunately, I don't know, but he never got a shot off. Anyways, another instance is looking over at the building and see. Let me back up here. Other times he would chase after it. It would run into the pavilion, the old rodeo grounds that's out there. It's in a building. We call it the pavilion, and it's got dirt everywhere, and like bleachers around, but it's abandoned. Nobody uses it. We don't use it anymore, and it runs in there. This is the place my cousin actually experienced an encounter with it. Was in there one night. Well, anyways, it would run in there, and so one night he's looking through his scope, and he sees this man that is also another form of it, where he wears a cowboy hat, trench coat, and he looks like a man. He's just scoping around, and he looks and he sees it. And this instance wasn't at night though. It was kind of like during the day. I want to say toward evening, and he's just looking around because it's on his radar, so he's like on the lookout for it. And he sees that man sitting there, and by the time he kind of like zooms in on him and he looks at him, he's staring right at him, like just staring right at him. And he he kind of jumps back because it frightened him. That, like, how is that guy just staring at him? And then he looks again, takes another look at it, and when he focuses back in again, it's up and it's running right at him across that field to his house. And so this went on for a long time, until finally, the day they were getting ready to move, they seen it again, and it was looking at him just out of the light and the darkness, looking at him, but it was shaking its head no at him. And it must have known they were getting ready to move. But so once they moved out of there, they moved to this other housing area, and he hasn't had any more experiences with it since. But that thing is real. It is around. It is a thing. And these people, I don't know if you guys see them, but they go to this place called Goatman Bridge, and they whip out this Ouija board, and they try to communicate with that thing. I would highly suggest any of y'all, if you're thinking of doing something like that, don't. Just don't. Don't fool with that thing. I asked him, I said, what do you think it is? Do you think it's a spirit, or do you think it's a physical being? He said, I think it's both. Because it can pound on our house, it can leave footprints, but it can also just disappear. He said, so I think it's both. So whatever this thing is, I don't know how we would classify it, but we usually just say it's a bad spirit. That's kind of how we generally classify it. And the thing is real, so I would just highly suggest anybody, if you're considering fooling with this, or, I mean, I even stopped watching those videos where they're doing it with that Ouija board at that bridge. I just like clicked I'm not interested, and I just quit total. I don't want to fool with it like that. I never would. But the stories are interesting. To me, they're safe to hear them, but I told the guy to smudge after he was done. He said, yeah, I'm going to smudge. I'm going to, take precautions because I don't want it to come back. But anyways, that was the story I wanted to share with you guys tonight about the Goat Man. And tomorrow, are we doing it again tomorrow night?
Yep, we will be here tomorrow.
Okay, I got a story about a haunted gym and floating basketballs for tomorrow. So if y'all interested in that story,
Awesome.
tune in. All
Very
right, thanks for
cool.
having me up, guys, and good night.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Good night. Very cool. I love Goatman stories too. We
Yeah.
have we have a couple of Goatman stories here in Kentucky. My favorite one is actually kind of tied to this big park in Louisville. And there was like a really big, like I think it was a fountain. I don't know, maybe it wasn't, but it kind of looked like a fountain from the pictures because I've never seen it in person. But there's a story about how there used to be a statue of Pan at the center of it, up on top, and people would say that Pan would come off at night and like parade around and in the park and do things. Oh, thank you for the heart. Um, and I thought it was interesting too how it was like kind of a little bit tied in with the Popelit Goat Man. So I thought that was like, I don't know. I just thought it was cool. But I think I have a
Yeah.
video on that. Do I have a video? I feel like I do.
I feel like you
Yeah,
do
it
too.
was it was a fawn. Yeah. No, I can't even remember. It's so weird. I'll tell stories on here and be like, "Do I have a video on that?" And then I literally have no idea. I think I might, maybe. If I don't, I probably will eventually.
Yeah.
I did film a new video today, guys. That should probably, hopefully, be out tomorrow. And it's about a train tunnel demon. Very spooky, very
Ooh.
interesting. So you guys will have to check that out. And if you haven't already, be sure to follow me and follow Chris, especially if you like horror movie stuff and horror art, because he is a horror artist. Check out our videos. I have lots of folklore and legends and spooky stuff, and Chris does lots of cool spooky horror movie art. And so, if you're new here, guys, we like to gather around the Holler Goblin and tell spooky stories. We talk about the paranormal, the extraterrestrial, cryptids, unexplained in general, just weird stuff that you don't really get, doesn't make any sense. Glitch in the Matrix. So if you have any of those types of stories and want to share them, feel free to hop in the box, come up, let us know. Tell us your spookiest spooky story. That's what we want to hear. Guest
Yeah.
box is wide open, I believe. Oh, we do have somebody in the box. Oh, thank you,
It's
Large
fun.
Tails. Thank
Oh.
you so much. Thank you so much for that.
Hey, Barbie.
Hey, good evening, guys. Sorry, I'm just putting in my headphones. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah. So, how's everyone doing tonight?
Good.
Good. I didn't catch any. Um, I didn't. I just joined a little while ago, so wasn't able to catch any most of the stories, but they're always good here. So I just wanted to share a story that my wife told me, and it's not very scary. It's just kind of it's well, you can make up your own minds. So basically, my wife, when she was, I want to say in her 20s, she had a favorite aunt, and she lived in California. And I would say maybe like 1 or 2 weeks out of the summer, she would go over there with her mom to visit the aunt. And she was very good person. She was written up in the papers over there in Anaheim about um, all the good deeds she did. She was a nurse like during the war, and she started her own like soup kitchen. So she was very good, very loved in the community. So as my wife got older, she graduated. She was graduating from her college up in Ithaca and in New York, that is. And so one night she's studying and falls asleep on her bed, and um, she opens up her eyes, and her aunt is at the end of the bed, and she said to her, she was like, Aunt Christy, what are you doing here? And she's like, oh, hi, Monica. I just wanted to say hello. And, um, I'm going to be leaving for a little bit. And I just wanted to come say hello to you and tell you that I love you and that, you know, um, you got to be a good person in this life. And, she said, I've been blessed with my husband. And, I know he passed away behind me, but, I'm going to see him soon. And I just want you to be happy, and I'll be watching over you. And so Monica, my wife, thought it was kind of like a dream. Um, and then so she, I guess, went back to bed. And then the next day she wakes up, and she talks to her mom every night. So she speaks to her mom, and she said, by the way, I have some bad news, and Christy passed away. And so it was kind of a weird coincidence that she came to visit her all the way from California in Ithaca, New York, and um, she didn't think it was very scary or weird at all. She actually thought it was kind of um, I don't want to say therapeutic, but she thought it was a nice experience, and so it's kind of yeah, I thought it was a cool story because it can be interpreted as two different ways, that there is an afterlife, or 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 like there there are people watching over us when they pass away, if there's still a connection, some sort of a connection. But um so I thought that was a really interesting event.
Yeah, that's really nice, actually.
It was kind of like she was saying goodbye and, like,
Right.
just take care kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I would have been really scared about, I don't know
Yeah.
if, I don't know how I would feel if it happened to me, but, it, she was kind of like in that dream stage, like, or the twilight stage where, like, she didn't know if she was
Right.
awake or asleep, but it was very clear. She said it was clearer than a dream. So it definitely most likely happened. I, you know, uh, I can't prove
Yeah.
it, or she can't prove it, but it was just a coincidence that she passed away that night, and the next day her mom told her.
Yeah, that is pretty incredible.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what though, if I saw my aunt in my room, I'd freak out.
yeah, that's kind of like what I said. So it was, but it was, yeah, I guess for they were so close, it was kind of uh, like I wasn't as close to my aunt as she was with her. So I guess
Yeah.
it was more of a comforting event for her, experience
Yeah,
for
for
her.
sure.
But and I just wanted to, there was uh, a a guy earlier who was talking about like a fairy entimental or something.
Yeah.
I forgot what he called it, but anyway, there was
It
some
was
sort
an
of a,
elemental.
oh, elemental, that's it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Does anyone know his name? Because I want to see those pictures that he was talking about.
Um,
It's like
somebody
Robert.
does.
If anybody knows, if they could just throw it on the chat, because I want to see these pictures. It's I guess like evidence
Yeah.
of something out there. But you
They're
know,
saying Popper, but I don't know if you'll be able to find him here on TikTok just by Popper. Um,
oh
I
yeah,
guess if he's the original Popper and the only Popper.
but that's strange. I've never heard of anyone seeing like a fairy like that, or an elemental. I mean, that's a new one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully the guy comes back. I was kind of hoping he was still here because I'd really like for him to talk to Ali, but maybe he'll be back sometime and yeah,
Yeah, he said he had many other stories too. Like he
yeah.
claimed to say he saw at least over 20 times, like things in the house and stuff like that.
Yeah, so he may come back sometime, and we're going to be here until Monday night. We're going to be here every night, so he might show back up. But we appreciate you coming up and sharing that with us.
Yep. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I'll be listening.
Alrighty, sounds good. All right, guys, guest box is open. Yes, we will be here tomorrow as well. I can't believe we're almost done with our week of marathon streaming. It's insane. It flew by, didn't it?
Yeah, I did.
I thought that it would be like I'd really feel it, like it'd really slow down time. But honestly, it has flown by. So crazy. It's the craziest thing. So we may have to have one of these like every month or something. But yeah, guys, we'll be here Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and Monday night. And who knows, maybe we'll just keep going forever. Like, we've already made it this far. Why stop now?
Right.
I think people would get tired of the stream. That's the only reason that I like to do a break, is just to kind of, keep it like special and a little bit novelty. But I do think people would get tired of the ghost stories eventually. So we don't want that to happen. So after Monday night, we will go back to our regular schedule for a little while. But yeah, we will be here tomorrow night as well. All
Yes, we
right,
will.
and we've got G in the box. Hello, welcome.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great.
You got a spooky story for us?
Yeah, I have a couple, but I don't think they're like scary, but they're pretty interesting. My first one that came to my mind was it happened actually like via TikTok. So I watch a lot of paranormal investigations, or they do like seances and stuff, and they do a voice box. And so it started let me just let you in. My godmother passed away from cancer, my mom's best friend, and she hasn't contacted us at all. We haven't got like any signs of her being around. And my mom, all through my life, she has been one to like communicate with spirits, so she has told me stories about it. And so anyways, I smelled the scent of her house, and I haven't had this scent, so I was like, okay, she must be around. And I'm getting chills just talking about it. And I just recently had a baby, and she was about 2 months or 3 months, and I was holding her 2 minutes after I said the scent, and I was like, oh, that's Jill. Like, we know who Jill is. We love Jill. And she just started smiling and smiling. I was like, okay, like, that's confirmation. Fast forward to about an hour to 2 hours later, I was watching a seance, and they were doing a voice box. And I pretty much just said, like, my spirits come through, like, show me that you're around. I completely believe that all spirits are aware of what's going on. Like, there's a similar consciousness type of thing. And so I'm trying to think of the first one. I had asked, what do you think about Gaia? Gaia is my child's name, and it's Mother Nature's name, like the Greek goddess Gaia, or it means earth. And so I said, what do you think about Gaia? And the next word that popped up was earth. And like 5 minutes later, I asked my grandfather, I was like, what do you think about Gaia? It said earth again. And then I asked about my uncle that unfortunately unalived himself, because, the whole like skepticism, all that. And it pretty much just told me, it was like, I want to hold you. It said, I want to hug you. We shouldn't talk about that. That's what the spirit box said. We shouldn't talk about that. I want to hug you. And then I said, like, what do I tell my dad? Because my dad cares. I was like, what do I tell my dad? And it said, you don't have to say anything. So, okay, more confirmations. And then I was playing with my baby's toes, and I was like, I was like, look how small, and it said cute, aw, baby. I'm just gonna explain for Barbie. A spirit box is a frequency generator. It goes through like all the AM channels and the FM channels, and when it picks up words, it like scans through them, and it picks up words and it says the words. But somebody was under the Estes method. That's what it was. They were listening to the spirit box on Estes method, which is where they're blindfolded and they have soundproof headphones on and they're listening to it, but the other people in the room are asking questions and like the person under can't hear. So that's what that was. That was my first story. Just a interesting thing.
Yeah, that is very cool. Actually, I've had a lot of really good experiences with the ghost box myself. We always used one on investigations when I was ghost hunting, and they are spooky accurate sometimes.
Yeah.
So very cool.
Well, so I was on alive, and he was doing the Estes method, and he was talking about, or he's really good. He's advanced and he's done it for 20 years, and so it's like very clear. He told about a guy who was a trucker, and his brakes went out going down a hill in California, whatever. Well, I started smelling something and I couldn't tell what it was. I didn't know if it was gasoline. And then I put in the chat and they were like, does it smell like burning brakes? And I was like, yes, it does. And then right when he got out of the Estes method, he was like, I smell something. He was like, it smells like burning brakes. And I was like, okay, I see. So yeah, that's the second. One thing about me is that I have been diagnosed with schizophrenia. So I used to hear voices when I wasn't medicated, and I could hear them through pretty much anything. This one time, I had smoked, and I don't know if that like triggers it. People do say, or scientists say that it triggers it, but I went out to Publix and I was just walking and I was like, do y'all hear me? And then I had heard, I wasn't listening to anything. I had heard, we hear you. And I was walking past an aisle and I heard my name, and I looked and I was like, was that you? I heard yes. And the voice was feminine. I haven't heard this voice before. And it sounded like it looked like the woman, if that makes sense. So I have a lot of experiences with voices that are like really spooky just because it's so unknown. But yeah, that's a few of mine.
Very cool. We really appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yeah, and I just came on this live, so I followed you and I look forward to seeing you do what you do. I'll definitely be a supporter.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
You too.
Guys, we are having a great night. We've had some terrific stories in here.
Yeah.
All right. Tap that screen. Send some hearts. Get some people in here. I do feel like it's a little slow tonight, but that's okay because it gets crazy and hectic when it gets too busy. So
Yeah. It's a good pace.
but yeah.
Um.
What is it, Chris?
Well, I guess. Well, my first thought is werewolf. What are you watching? And my second, my second thought was, did the box light up or what was?
Um, I'm not seeing anybody. No.
Okay, because I saw it light up twice. Might have just been a glitch.
Yeah, I don't know. I had it open there for a second. I've not seen anything.
Also, I feel dumb because I didn't know you could click the little viewers on the top and it would like show them to you. Because somebody earlier was talking about that.
What do you mean, like just the viewers in general?
Yeah, like on the little top where it has the little person and it says how many viewers we have.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've never clicked that. I'm afraid to click it. I'll accidentally click the end stream button.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I probably better not click that. Um, let's spam the chat with some Bigfoots, big
Yeah.
feets.
We're open for business, guys.
We are. I still can't get over that person that came in earlier. I was looking up some of those gifts. That was insane. Like, oh my god, I don't even know. Like, that was wild.
Yeah, never seen any gifts like that before.
I haven't either.
We're too.
We haven't used the Flatwoods monster in a good long time.
I use it pretty regularly.
Do
Um,
you?
yeah, I think it might be my favorite one. So, yeah. But I don't know. I like the lizard.
Yeah, the lizard guy is super cool.
Yeah, Tina. That guy must have been balling.
I told Chris, I was like, it must have been Mr. Beast. Maybe he's cruising around TikTok with a sock account tonight.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, we have another Sarah.
We do.
Hey there, Sarah.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Yeah,
Got a
hello.
spooky story? You got a spooky story for us?
Okay, it's not very spooky, but it is a ghost story.
Awesome. Let's hear it.
Okay, hold on real quick. Let me finish my son's macaroni. Yeah, like I said, it's not spooky, but it was something that it happened and it kind of confused me because I was young, but definitely a ghost story. So hold on real quick. Let me stir this up. I was about 3 years old, okay? And my mom and dad, they had friends and they were like, "Oh, you got a little girl. I've got a whole bunch of these like little stuffed animals to give you." And I was like, I'm 3. So I was like, "Okay, sweet." And I got all these little stuffed animals and I had took them out the bag and I'm playing with them in my room. And I don't know, I was just playing. I'm a little kid. And so, long story short, is that my grandma came in and she had gave me this one bear and she was like, "Hey, you're gonna like this bear." I don't even know. I'm like a little kid. And she was like, "Here, take this. Her name is Honey Bear." And I was like, "Sweet." My grandma picked a bear I'm gonna love, and I'm gonna love this bear forever because my grandma said, "This one's special to me." Okay, great. Well, I couldn't sleep like if I left the bear, like say I left it at my cousin's house or I left it wherever. And so my mom was like, "What's up with you and your bear? Like, why can't you sleep without your bear?" And I was like, "Well, mom," I was like, "Mommy, grandma gave it to me," which mind you, my grandma and I have the same name. She's Grandma Sarah and I'm Sarah. And she was like, "What do you mean your grandma gave it to you?" And I was like, "My grandma gave me this bear, and I love her so much that I cannot sleep without my bear." And mind you, I'm 3, so I'm a little girl. And my mom was like, Sarah, Grandma Sarah passed away 3 years ago. So I was like, I don't understand what you're saying to me, lady, because how does that make sense to me? You know, and I know it's not a spooky story, but it's like something that I'm 33 now, and I'm just like, why did I always think that my grandma gave me this bear? Because I swore up and down, she did. And my mom showed me a picture, after the fact, and she was like, is this who gave you the bear? And I was like, yeah. She's a small woman. My grandma was Hawaiian. She's a small, little tan woman. And I just remember her giving me this bear. And my mom didn't have a lot of photos of her in the house because my mom was very close to her mother. And, I know people handle grief like differently, when they lose a family member. And my mom didn't have a lot of photos of her and didn't talk about her because it was just a sensitive subject of her mother passing. So I know it sounds kind of, weird, and
Yeah.
I know you're like, what the heck is this lady talking about? And I, even to this day, kind of at 33 is like kind of perplexed. I'm like, I don't know what I seen, but I swore my grandmother, she gave me this bear and told me out of all them bears, this is for you and you're going to love this bear, and named her Honey Bear. And I just never could part with that bear. And actually, I actually still have my bear at 33 years old from California, where this happened, in Texas. I have my bear with me right now.
Wow. Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you
Yeah.
still had it.
Yes, I do. I'm in my kitchen right now making my son some macaroni, and she's in my room in the closet, not like a closed closet, but I have 2 sons, and so like I don't want none of their friends and my nephews and my nieces. I don't want no one to mess with her. So she sits, like I have a drawer in my closet. She sits on top of it.
Yeah,
I,
that's
I
really cool.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a ghost story, but it's not really spooky, but it's something that even now I kind of like, I still think about once in a while, and I'm like, wow, like what did I see, and what was like going on that made me, I don't know, like, just, I just knew that this was someone special to me, who told me, this is your bear. And she even gave her a name. I didn't name my bear Honey Bear. She came up with the name. And I think what made my mom kind of questioned me, because my mom even told me, she was like, your grandma Sarah had a best friend when they lived in Los Angeles. And I was like, okay, what, I'm older now. And I was like, she got a best friend? Okay. And my mom was like, her best friend was Honey. And I was like, that is very, very weird. Uh, my grandma was a performer, she's a small Hawaiian woman. When she came after the war of Pearl Harbor, my mom married my grandfather. He was a Marine or a soldier or whatever. And she wanted to get off the island. So she met this big, strong man and left, and they moved to Los Angeles. And my grandma, I mean, they just, she loved the party scene. Like I wouldn't say the drug part of party scene, but like she loved the nightlife. She sung karaoke and she went to bars, and she had this friend, that was, a drag queen that was Honey, and apparently that was my grandmother's like BFF. And the fact that the bear that my grandma gave me was named Honey Bear, my mom just thought was odd, because my mom growing up in, LA with her mother, she was like, yeah, your grandmother's best friend was honey, you know, and I don't know, and I know that sounds weird, but it's kind of been sounding weird to me, you know. So,
Well, that's pretty amazing,
yeah,
actually. Pretty
I know,
amazing
and it's
story.
like I said, not spooky, but just a ghost story, you know. And
Mhm.
I had to bring it up because I thought it was really sweet, you know, and I don't know. It's kind of weird because, like, I'm agnostic. You know, there could be a higher power, there couldn't be. I'm not going to put nothing past the universe or no one. I just always thought that that was just strange, you know, that I don't know. I got this bear, and like I said, she's still with me now. And yes, I just had to share it because, you know, it's the end of the night, and I thought it was just kind of nice to bring up.
Yeah, absolutely. That is amazing. And I'm glad to hear that you have Honey Bear still.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And
Um,
we appreciate you so much for coming up and sharing that with us. That's really cool.
yeah, I
Yeah.
really like y'all's live.
Awesome. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so
Yes.
much. And hopefully you hang out with us and listen to some stories.
Always. All right, y'all.
All right. Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Very cool.
I hear
All right,
Scooter.
everybody. Tap, tap, tap. Yeah, Scooter is, he's beginning his yodel, his fancy yodel for the night. Like always.
Hey, Esme.
Hello, welcome.
Hey, I'm gonna try to make it as short as possible because it was kind of like in a time period of 3 years. But I met my husband a couple years back, and he's passed away now. But in the time period of like the time that I met him up until we were married, up until after he passed, there was a lot of spooky stuff that would happen. So he had a substance abuse problem, which we were aware of or whatever. But the topic of like death and like ghosts and like the occult was like a very big theme in our marriage. I think it's where we like connected the most. But when he was going through like a lot of hard stuff, when he was going through his things, and he lost his mom to cancer. And the day that he lost his mom to cancer, we were actually like hanging out. And it was when we first kind of started getting to know each other. I was actually with him the day that she had passed. I dropped him off at home, and because I think we had gone to, like, I don't remember where we had gone, but I dropped him off at home, and his mom had passed away from cancer, and she was at her home. She died in his mom's trailer. And I kind of helped him through it. We had a falling out because we weren't really dating at the time. But a couple of years later, we reconnected and we started seeing each other. And again, he was on substances or whatever, and he was just having a rough time with the passing of his mom. Once we started dating, we were really into the occult. He really had a lot of like spooky experiences. Like he would connect with his mom, because I do believe that, like, once they're passed, they keep a watchful eye over us. And we started dating. He would tell me like a bunch of spooky stories. A lot of the time when we were in his trailer, I would hear noises. He would see things. Every time we would like when I would spend the night, I would actually have nightmares. And um a lot of the times it was just it was really dark stuff. And he would too, except he was he was an active sleeper. So he would have nightmares, and then he would kind of act out his nightmares. He at one point in one of his dreams, he was having like this really, really vivid dream, and in his sleep he started choking me. But he was like doing it in real life, which was like it was honestly really scary. I believe that the substances really do connect you to this very dark energy. And so I think at one point it was getting to that point of like not it was just like not healthy for us. But again, we were trying to kind of push it through. We were trying to get him clean. He had a lot of nightmares where there was this shadow hanging in the corner of his room. And that trailer always was like super freaky. I hated that trailer most nights. Most days it was just like whatever's in here they can't hang, like but a lot of the time it was just, again, these substances activate these portals, they activate these things that are beyond us. It's just energy. Um one of the nights he had this very, very vivid dream where I was like looking over him. He explained it to me, and he said that I was like trying to revive him because he was, again, he was on substances, so he was, I guess, going on the other side. I don't want to get, like blocked or whatever, but he
Right.
was like having this vision of like transferring over to the other side. And he would dream about his mom a lot because I felt like his mom had a really good connection with him, and in a way, I felt like she was trying to pull him because I knew that this world was just too harsh on him. He had a lot of heaviness that he felt, and he had this nightmare where I was trying to kind of revive him. Um, a couple months later, I had told this story before of like the dream that I had had, and there was this white lady. It was on this live too, but I had told him, it was like a whole necromancy thing that I was on a trip about. But a couple weeks after that, he ended up, succumbing to his substance abuse. And it's just so crazy because he had such an infatuation with the number 3 and the number 6 and the number 9. And those are very spiritual numbers. The time that he died, and I remember it vividly because I woke up and it was 6:12. It was right before my alarm had gone off. He wasn't next to me. And I went into the bathroom because I felt this like overwhelming sense of like something's not right. I went into the bathroom, and of course, he had succumbed to his like, illness. I called, the cops or whatever, XYZ. I had ended up, losing him. When I lost him, it just felt like everything was like a blur. Everything for the following 6 months was just, it wasn't coherent. But the day after he died, I kept hearing whispering. I kept hearing voices. I would try to go to sleep. I would dream of him. I would kind of relive a lot of stuff. But I would hear him whispering, and he would talk to me, and I would see him. And in that trailer, I stayed for I would say about 2 weeks until he got cremated. Um, it was a different energy because I feel like whatever he was using, it was an entity. I wholeheartedly till this day believe it's an entity, and it was dragging him. It was dragging him along, and my friend and I, his friend, we stayed in that trailer for about 2 weeks, and we were both having nightmares. We were both trying to cope with it until the funeral. He ended up getting blotters, and blotters are LSD or whatever for educational purposes. It was not a substance, whatever. But we ended up taking. I took like half. He took like a whole uh, dose or whatever. We had left when we came back. I don't even remember where we went. We came back. One of the lights was on, and that trailer has had electrical problems since the dawn of time. So the back room it never had electricity no matter how hard we tried. It never had electricity. When we came back, the light was on. As soon as we walked in, like it was working like nobody's business. And I started freaking out because, of course, I still felt the energy of my husband there, but I still felt like there was something else there that was not supposed to be there. So I started cleansing. So I started using copal, which is what the Aztecs used to cleanse, like the Mayans. It's like indigenous Mexican resin. I started cleansing, and I would cleanse a lot, but it felt different because it was the first time that I had cleansed after my husband died. When I got to that back room, which is also coincidentally the room where his mother had passed away, When I went to go clean that room, I heard whispering, and I felt like this lightness, like it just felt like I was gonna pass out. Right when I got to the door, which was the window, sorry, where she was facing, I just got really lightheaded and I felt whispering, and then I felt this burst of energy, and then I was like, I'm not gonna stick around here that long. So I went around, I cleansed the rest of the house. The lights went out on that back room, which again was the light that never worked. It was also the light where she had passed away. He had passed away in the bathroom, so they both passed away in that trailer. Um, I just felt like I was not wanted there. I didn't belong there. That was not my place. And I accepted it. And I take signals and I take signs for what they are. So I ended up dropping him off to like a friend's house. And then I ended up leaving. I never went back there. A couple months later, after they had already cleaned out the house, I was inebriated. I was I was drunk or whatever. But I decided to go back because, I was still feeling what I was feeling. I was still mourning. I went back and I tried to go inside. I had the keys and I tried to go inside and I twisted my ankle. I'm pretty sure I fractured it, but it still felt like whatever was in there didn't want me to be there at all. And every time I go, and I've gone a couple of times, and I try not to go because obviously I don't belong there. That's not where I'm supposed to be. I can sense that. Every time I go, I get hurt. I fall. I like bust my butt somewhere outside. I twist my ankle again. It's like the right ankle. I always get hurt. And so I was like, all right, I'll take that as a sign. I won't go back. A couple of weeks later after that, I signed up to talk to a medium. And I wholeheartedly believe in the spooky stuff. I wholeheartedly believe that there is a connection, there's a veil, they're there, I can still talk to him. I signed up to talk to a medium, and that medium, she was really good. She was blind. She's completely blind. But we did a voice call, and it was like over the phone. She wasn't from here. I don't remember where she was from. But she spoke to me, and I was like, I don't know. I just feel like I don't know where I'm going. I feel like I'm very lost. Didn't tell her about my husband, and she's like, I feel like I'm getting a signal. I'm feeling something. I feel like there's somebody trying to talk to you. This has never happened to me before. Because she was just like she was like a tarot reader. But she also, did some medium stuff. And she's like, there's this and she described him exactly to the point, to the T. Because he had black curly hair. He was a little bit more fair skinned. Like he had a big nose. Like she described him exactly, and she gave me a lot of the closure that I didn't know that I needed, but maybe I was looking for. But I was just asking her questions. I'm like, are you okay? Like, I just want to make sure that you're okay. I want to make sure that you're with your mom. I want to make sure that everything's fine. And she really reassured me, and it felt like I was talking to him. And I was very spooked out also at the same time because, I believe in mediums, but I had never had an experience with a medium where, I'm talking to the person that I married, the person that I was going to spend my whole life with. And she assured me, I'm okay, everything's fine, just don't worry about me, everything's gonna be okay, and it felt like him. And the way she was talking, the way she was speaking, it just felt like he was there with me. And every so often, if I'm feeling lost, if I'm feeling confused, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'll talk to him. And it just seems like I get signals from him. And it really is that way. We have our guardians, whether they're, whether we don't see it or not, once we really tune into those type of energies, they're really there. And, every so often, I'll light a candle for him. I'll talk to him and I'll tell him this is what I'm feeling. It always seems like something will click, a noise, something will fall, something will move. So I know he's there, and I know I'm taking too much time, but, it really reassures me that whatever we see, whatever we believe, it really is there. as much as we like lie to ourselves and tell ourselves that like, oh, it's, once we're there, it's over. It's not. Like there has to be a beyond, because energy cannot be destroyed. Energy can only be transmuted, transformed. And I just want to share that with you guys, because if you have loved ones that are just not here anymore, like, talk to them, speak to them. They are there. They really are. And they're there to guide you. They're your guardians. And if you ever feel lost, if you ever feel like you are confused, they're always going to be there to guide you. That connection can never be broken. But I thank you guys. I really like your guys' life, but that's all for me.
Yeah, that sounds really tough, and I'm sorry you went through all that, but we appreciate you sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Snoop
All
boop,
right.
everybody. Time for another round of snoop booping. Tippy tap the screen. If you're not tapping, you're probably napping. I don't know. What is it Tully says? I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think I was napping earlier in the live.
Oh no.
Yeah, I
That's
think
not
I
good.
accidentally. Yeah. All right, Sarah. Should I take over?
Sure, go for it.
All right. I'm gonna bring up a guest, guys. Hello. Smitty? This might have been an accident, Sarah.
Smitty, are you with us? Yeah, I think it might have been an accidental request. Um,
Okay.
See, all right. Guest box is wide open, guys. If anybody has a spooky story you want to come up here and share, feel free to hop in the box and do that. You want to do the thing, Chris? You want to do the thing?
What? Wait, what? What are we talking about?
I'm just trying to pawn my advertisement off on you. You want to do the pitch?
For the sub?
Just for everything in general.
Oh, well, the box is open. If anybody wants to join and tell us a story, you need at least 200 followers to come up. Raven. Um, but yeah, somebody can come up here, tell a story. And also, we have a subscription. It's on the bottom left corner of the screen. Thank you, pretty lady. I've never, ever, ever had anybody tell me that. But the subscription is worth it. You get cool emojis that you can use in the chat, and you get access to the Discord, and we have a lot of fun over there. We had a wild night last night. It was hilarious. So if you guys are fans of us here, you're definitely missing out on that. Cringe-worthy. Are you calling me cringe? Because I won't disagree with you, but yeah, so we have that subscription, guys, if you're interested.
Do you know that person?
No.
No. We might block them. Maybe. Maybe we won't.
It's
Maybe
okay.
we'll live with flail.
Yeah, I mean, they're telling the truth. Yeah, but the box is open, guys, if anybody wants to come up and tell a story.
That's right. And if you are new here, this is the part I wanted you to do, Chris, because I'm all raspy and hoarse from my allergies, so I didn't want to do it because I'm lazy. If you are new here, we gather around the Holler Goblin and we tell spooky stories. Paranormal stories, extraterrestrial stories, cryptid stories, weird stuff in general, and glitch in the matrix stories. Any type of scary story, we want to hear your spookiest spooky story. Feel free to hit that guest request, get in the box, come up here, share your story with us. Yeah, that part. The allergies are like they're really getting to me this year. This is the first year that I've really struggled this much with it, and I feel like I don't know.
Yeah.
What is?
Um,
Did you ever see that interview with Molly Cyrus that ended up being like a meme that everybody was kind of like making fun of her for? That's how I feel like I sound right now. I'm all froggy.
oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
you sound fine. I can't plug the box like you do. You do it a special way that nobody can recreate.
You can do it. Let's see. What does Project have to say now? No, the host encouraging you was cringeworthy in a humorous way. Okay, well, weird. All right. We'll take it. It's engagement. All right, guys. We've got about an hour left in tonight's show.
Yeah.
Can you believe that we are almost done with our very first marathon week?
Oh, yeah.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. It really it wasn't as like I thought it would be like I don't know maybe stressful or intense, but it's actually been pretty smooth except for last night. But we're not having that problem tonight, so everything's
Yeah.
good. I reckon. Um,
Did you say Tully is going to join us tomorrow and Saturday?
well, I don't know about Saturday, but he said that he might jump on tomorrow night
Yeah. Tully's going to
after
host the
his
show.
live stream.
Right. Yeah. Tully, you're going to host the show tomorrow. And me and Sarah are going to be your guests.
Yep. Tully's going to take over. Tomorrow is Tully takeover day.
Yeah.
Um, that's going to be interesting, guys. It's going to be really fun because like we're all going to be up here.
Ooh.
Just it's going to be wild and crazy. Thank you, Harry.
Yeah, that was cool.
Uh, yeah, that was pretty neat.
That reminded
Ali,
me.
I see that Ali's here. You missed a
Yeah.
really good story that you should have been here for, Ali. There was someone here had a fairy story, a question, or
Yeah.
a question, a story about like a Tinkerbell type fairy. Um, that was it. It was a really unique and interesting story. I wish you had been here for it. Um,
Oh, they want you to come up, Ollie. They're asking for it. Please, Ollie, may we have another story?
oh, that's right, Raven. Yeah, it was an elemental, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fine, Ollie. Take your time. Um, let's see. What else? What else? Hmm.
Somebody said I need to do a 24-hour challenge. I don't what do you mean by that exactly? Oh my gosh, the worm. Well, thanks for bringing that up. I think everybody forgot about that, but don't worry about it. It'll be here.
I think at this point, Amazon owes you that worm for free, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I can't believe them. Hey, werewolf.
What's up, crew?
What's
Happy
going on?
happy ethereal Thursday. I was trying to think of a Thursday word. I couldn't really think of one. Um, well, since it's slow, I wanted to tell you guys my version of La Llorona because the other night that girl told that story of like, remember the lady by the pool that looked like the mom and then it wasn't the mom,
Oh
and then,
yeah.
and then she thought it was like La Llorona, and I thought that was so cool, like a real La Llorona story. Um, but anyways, the way my grandma told me the La Llorona story is first of all, it was a rainy day. It was in Southern California where it doesn't rain that much. And we were like telling, whatever ghost stories. And she told it to me that there was a woman who had two kids and she fell in love with this soldier. And he kind of liked her too, but he didn't like the fact that she had, kids from I don't know what happened to the dad of the kids, but he's not in the picture. But anyways, this soldier guy didn't like the fact that she had two kids. So then she was very heartbroken, and then she ended up drowning her kids so that she would be childless so that she could be with him. But then when she told him what she had done, she thought, I guess, he would be in love with her, he was like, what the you're crazy. And then she like kind of went mad and realized what she had done, and so then she went crazy, went looking for her kids, right? But the scary part, and this is the part that not everyone talks about, but my grandma added this detail, which I thought was very spooky, is because the story goes that now the spirit of La Llorona wanders near rivers and near like lakes, and she's bound to the water because her children drowned, and so she's looking for like her kids, and so she like looks for children near the water. Like that's part of the scary thing. But the way my grandma said it is, she goes, yeah. So if you're not by a river or a lake, you're safe. Like, because at the time we were in a house that like was not near a river or a lake. But then but it was raining, and she goes, but the rain confuses her because puddles look like lakes and gutters look like rivers. So when it's raining, you have to be careful because La Llorona could be anywhere. And so that was like the scary fun thing. But anyways, a few years ago, I got really obsessed with La Llorona and just the fact that it's like, this legend in a lot of Hispanic Latino countries. And so I was kind of doing like an informal poll and asking all my friends, like, do you know the story of La Llorona? Like, how old are you? And who told you? Like, what was your version of it? Blah, blah, blah. And it's so funny because certain people obviously will change the story for like their own motives. And so, for example, this one of my coworkers, I asked her, I was like, oh, did you tell your kids the story? She goes, I did, and I regret it because they were too young, I think. And I was like, why'd you tell them that? And she said, because they were being bad. So I told them the story of La Llorona to like scare them. And I was like, well, what'd you tell them? And then she told the story. And then she said that La Llorona goes around looking in windows for children, and she looks for the bad kids to take them away. And she made her kids cry because she scared them with that story. Anyways, another thing that's funny is I was talking to one of my friends who's Mexican, and she has young children, and she was saying that she creates monsters to motivate her kid. Like she told her child that there's a monster who lives in the fireplace, so that's why you can't go near the fireplace because the monster will get you. And she said that her friends are like, oh, you're going to traumatize her. But then she was like, no, but like, that's part of Mexican culture. And I was like, exactly. And then she goes, yeah, I was reading a book about how certain cultures use monsters to motivate their kids or teach their children lessons. And for example, the story of La Llorona originated in towns or places that were near rivers. And it was to teach the children not to go near the rivers at night because it's dangerous. But if you tell them not to go near the rivers, they want to do it because it's forbidden. But if you make it like, oh, there's a ghost that lives out there and it's going to get you, then kids listen because kids understand like monsters better than they understand obeying rules. So anyways, I thought that was a fun little La Llorona story in light of what we heard the other nights that I thought I'd share with you guys. I thought you'd think it was interesting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All
La
right.
Go ahead,
Llorona's
Chris.
cool. Oh no, I was just gonna say I love La Llorona, so yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Well, I'm going to pop back down, but thanks for doing Marathon Week.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey.
It was an eventful 48 hours. I have a little story for you. It's very new. So, this has to deal with, I'm going to keep it like very DL. So, you guys can, because it's a current patient. So, I have a new patient. Around 12 years old, 13, almost 13. Patient's autistic. Now, this patient I was like called by one of my colleagues, a neurologist, and another psychologist, child psychologist, and they called me saying, because they kind of know me, so they called me and said, hey, I have a patient that you might want to see. Can we send them to you? And I was like, yeah, I have, like, because it's a pediatric patient. I was like, I have pediatric, psychotherapists. Like, what's going on? I have a pediatrician here. And they're like, no, I need you to kind of evaluate this, I'm going to send you over everything. So the parents signed off, all of that stuff that, hospitals have to do for sharing information so we can continue care. I don't practice, I do more management. So what now is that this is a special case, and I have another, Texas Children's Hospital contacting me and asking me, hey, can you check this patient out? Because they weren't really giving me a lot of details. And I'm like, Lucy, what the heck is going on? Like, just tell me. They're like, well, it's a weird case, and the parents are concerned because it may be something beyond our scope of understanding, and maybe you could understand it because they know I'm a very spiritual person. Like, I'm all up in this like juju stuff. So they send this patient to me with the parents. So here we go. I'm not giving any names or anything like that. So, and the case, you'll never know these people. So anyways, because I'm using all fake names. So anyways, I have this patient because I checked this patient out, right? I'm evaluating, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And the autistic child pretty much like grabbed onto my hand. And this was strange. The mom was in shock because he never did this. So what was going on? And I was trying to interview the parents. The parents were saying like, something's going on. The other doctors can't figure it out, and he is scared to death at night. He's waking up. This is beyond the scope of what is going on. So we want to get to the bottom of what is happening. And then dad was like, just tell him. And I'm like, tell me what? Like, this is, it's a safe place, the hospital. Just tell me everything. They sent you here for a reason. I'm here to listen. And so I did. Dad was like, 2 nights ago when I opened his door in his room, things were strange. And I was like, okay, how strange? Was he like out of bed or something like that? On and on and on. Well, he's like, nothing like that. He was under the bed, hiding. I'm like, okay, so tell me more. Guy says, so Mr. says that, hey, like, listen, doc, his furniture was turned upside down. That's what he told me. I'm like, okay. Did Buddy over here do it? Like, does he, because this is a small kid. And I'm just like, okay, maybe it's very lightweight furniture. Maybe they're exaggerating. No, they weren't. Dad showed me the whole video. He showed me pictures. And I was like, huh. So as the child is holding my hand at this point, because he's coming there and he's sitting next to me, the mom's in shock. And she is like in shock, such as, he's never done this. Like, he went right to you, because he doesn't do that with his own doctors or anything like that. Child's nonverbal. So things get difficult, right? Because he can't really talk and explain what's going on. And so the kid finally just like, tugs at me and looks like, pulls at me. And I'm looking at him, I'm paying attention. And he's like pointing outside the door. Okay, we're in a like evaluation setting, because I went to the pediatrics center from where I was, from my office. So I went over there. And he's pointing out something. And I see, when I look up, suddenly I see out of the corner of my eye a shadow figure, like just a glimpse, and it's gone. Is Chris asleep? Anyways, it's a glimpse. it's a glimpse and it's gone. I thought you were asleep, Chris. You don't want to
What?
miss that one.
No, I'm listening.
Because now this is strange, and so the parents are saying, I was like, I believe him, is what I said, because I knew what that was. In a sense, I kind of knew, and I got it. I got why the others were referring him to me, because this is something that was going on. So all in all, the child is not just autistic. Child is actually visually gifted with foresight. The child is very sensitive. He can see. And so, because he's very sensitive, it's going to, it's like very out there in like parapsychology kind of a thing. But it's in a huge hypothesis. But it feels like right now the study is ongoing, but it seems like people who have autism on certain spectrums, their brain level acts differently. It's not like they can't, not do things. They speak a different language almost than us. And so maybe he was born very sensitive, and perhaps because of his vulnerability and inability to have protections, something's coming at him. Something's coming after him. And I have never had this kind of experience before. But yes, something is very dark, and it's strong enough attached to this child and to this family that apparently it followed them from wherever they are home all the way here. It is literally tracking this child. So I'm like, and he's now like looking at me, eye contact. Again, not in his scope, not in his file, abnormal from his behavior. He looks at me and he is like pointing again out there, and he's just like, because he feels like that I can help, and I know what he's at, like I know what he's feeling, right? I get it. I know he sees because I saw it out of the corner of my eye, but the thing is hiding. Wherever it is, it's kind of gone. So I kind of be like, okay, mom, can you come over here? So I have the mom, coddle buddy over here. I go and take a step. This is where the dad is now hyperventilating. Dad's eyes grow huge. Like I am talking about, I think this man may need like mental health first aid in just a minute. Because I'm like walking up from my desk and I'm going over there on the other side of the door and seeing what's going on outside. I just wanted to see if I can see it again. I did. No, the parents kind of knew what I was after I started getting up and like going after what it was. Mom and dad pretty much got it because what I saw, what he is seeing, and I'm just like trying to see if the coast is clear. Like, what was it? Trying to get a better reading on it. If it's still there, I think it's not there. I don't see it. The coast is clear, but one thing I do smell is a very familiar smell. It's a whiff. I just got a whiff of it and it was gone. Now, this again is a medical setting. Things smell like bleach or stuff like that, right? I got this stink, a whiff of stink, like kind of going away. And the stink is of sulfur. It's sulfur. Sulfur and something rotting. Now I'm familiar. Now I know what's going on a little bit. I'm getting a little, feel of what this is. And so I sit down and I talk to the parents and I'm just like, how long has this been happening? And they said that it's been happening out of nowhere for the last few months. I'm trying to get more money out. I'm not money. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get more questions out of them, and I'm trying to get the I want to I forgot the term of it. What was that saying? Want to hit the money on it or something like that. I want to get the bingo or whatever. I'm trying to figure out what it is that had this happen to this child. Because I tell the parents and I kind of explain to them that, yes, I mean, he is gifted. And yes, right on the money. That is it. Thank you, Garden Core. And so I'm trying to get a scope of how long this has been happening. Mom said it's gotten worse, but suspectedly things changed out of the norm around 3.5 to 4 months ago. What happened at that time? Was there an accident? Did he go somewhere? What happened? So, Dad said we were at a graveyard. There was a funeral. Dad is kind of like panicky at this point because now there's someone in the field reassuring him that what his son is seeing and what his wife believes is kind of like there and what his parents been telling him, because Dad is from a Hispanic background. And so I'm trying to get more questions, more answers to what's going on. And so he just straight up says, it's not certain, but this is basically something that I kind of felt. It's not full medical, it's a hypothesis. Because this was just a consultation. They wanted just me to see what else is going on. So, I mean, they came to me, Raven, I'm telling you, they came to me in a more different setting. So basically what happened was I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. And the parents were basically saying that this happened after they went to a funeral. So on and on and on it goes. I kind of get a little bit more like information from them. And then it's still an ongoing thing. But all in all, I do know something is more than like out of the ordinary with this child. More than what the eye can see, literally. And I directly feel that. So this is a current spookiness that's happening. But we won't know until like much later on. That update I will give y'all maybe on Discord sometime very later.
Yeah, for sure. Discord's probably the best place for that. But
Yeah.
sounds like a wild ride, Ollie.
Yeah, that one was a little crazy, but yeah, that's it. That's all I can say. That's what I experienced with my literal eyes. But yeah, we need to like be more. It's just amazing because this is the first time, like from the outside source, this has happened. Other than that, do we have another guest in the box?
We have 3 guests in the box.
Bring them up.
Hang out. All right.
Bring them up. Hello there.
Hello, welcome.
Hello.
You got
Hi.
a spooky story for us?
Yeah, I got a creepy one. I'll try to make it quick. Me and my wife were in the garage one night looking at the stars, and we saw some weird, what looked like stars moving in crazy directions. And that was weird to begin with. I thought they were satellites, but they weren't. And then they would just disappear, which was strange as well. And then later on that night, she was standing in the driveway looking up at the stars, and she noticed this creepy alien looking thing like hovering and moving, and she screamed at the top of her lungs. And so I ran out into the driveway to see what it was. And I saw this thing, and it scared the crap out of both of us. And this was last year in August. This thing looked like, I don't know if you've seen the jellyfish UFO video that came out like on the news and stuff. Jeremy Corbell.
Yeah.
it looked exactly like that thing, and I even drew a picture of it on an envelope that I had in my garage to try to remember it. And then it turns out earlier this year that jellyfish UFO video is released, and it looked exactly like that. And we've only told a few people about this, but I mean, it scares the crap out of you because it's like there's some credibility to this stuff, especially when you see it with your own eyes. But that's pretty much it. It's got a creepy vibe from it. The drawing I made of that looks exactly like the jellyfish UFO, like that was on the news. So
Yeah, I was trying to Google it really quick because I forgot which one.
it's like an infrared, and it's hovering next to like flying past a military base somewhere in the Middle East, I believe. It's a Jeremy Corbell video.
Well, that is very cool. Chris, are you back?
Oh, can you guys not hear me?
No, you were off the app.
Oh wow, yeah. No, I was looking at it on Google. Yeah, I have seen that before. Was it what color was it?
It looked like a dark brown figure, or couldn't. It was hard
Uh-huh.
flying. It was hovering low. It was moving again. It wasn't bobbing or flapping or anything. And then, like the drawing I have on this envelope, compared to the video, if you zoom in on that, you see at the top it's this brown shape that has like three peaks to it at the very top of it, and
Yeah.
that's drawn very very similar shape on this envelope on August 3rd, 2023.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I wish we
Link.
could see the drawing.
Yeah, I mean I have it. I have the envelope.
Yeah. Are you able to show it to us by any chance?
Yeah, I can show it to you.
Sarah, can he do that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you want to show it to us, that'd be cool.
I mean, it's really, really sketchy. Like, I'm not an artist in that way, but you can
It's okay.
definitely see what I drew that night. And
Yeah.
it was very strange.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you don't have to show it to us right now, but I don't know if you want to like post it or something, or you can send it to me or something. You can.
I'll try to send it to the account. And, like maybe you can show it, but
Okay.
it was just this thing that pops up as a youth months later for the first time. I had
Just really quick, is he cutting out for anybody else? Sarah, is he cutting out a little?
Yeah, I can't hear him pretty much at all at this point.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. It's not your fault, but I guess we're just cutting out a little bit.
I'll send a picture for you.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, thanks
All,
for
all
sharing.
right. Well, thank you so much for coming up. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Have a good night. Wow,
Cool.
it's getting busy. We got a bunch of people waiting.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
You got a
cool.
spooky story for us?
Yeah, I have. Oh man, I have a whole bunch. But speaking of aliens, I live in the backwoods of South Carolina, kind of in the middle of nowhere. Like not really, really, but 20 minutes to town. Uh, Came out of my room one night. I live in the basement. The basement leads directly outside. There are multiple entrances to the outside. Came out of my room one night, and in the living room down here has one of the other entrances to outside. I see this gangly little creature stand there, and it looks at me, and it gives me this look, the look of a child that just got its hand caught in a cookie jar. Like, oh shit. And it runs out the door. And I watch it go up off the deck and kind of off the trail around the house. That's all I have for that one.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's
No,
weird.
it was very weird. It makes it every single creepy thing that they say about the mountains, I guarantee you is true. Just from the short time I've lived just in the woods. I can only imagine how weird it is living out there.
Yeah, someone in the comments wanted to know what it looked like. Can you describe it a little bit? Or
The closest thing, it wasn't like a little, like the stereotypical green thing. It was gray. It kind of looked like the closest thing I could probably describe is Gollum from Lord of the Rings. That's what it looked like to me. It was
Huh.
kind of gray, a little gangly, had a very circular mouth though, like it didn't have like a normal mouth, and it had two big eyes.
That's weird.
Or the rake. Y'all ever heard of the rake?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the closest thing I could describe to it.
Did you say this was during the day or the nighttime?
No, middle of the night.
Middle
Probably,
of the night?
yeah, probably 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you said it ran out?
Yeah.
Like you had the door
And
open or?
no, it ran through the door.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
so is that the first thing that you've ever experienced like that? Is it the first
Oh,
time?
well, that was the first time I have ever seen. I've seen ghosts or I've seen shadow beings, I've seen other things. That was the first thing I have ever seen that like reacted to me. Like other people who've seen ghosts and other things, I don't know, like if it like I've never had, it's usually just something in the moment. Like my aunt's house, me and my cousin were standing outside, and we see this shadow. We see a person walk through the from one window to the next, and we go inside. We're like, "What the hell?" And yeah, there was nobody in there. Just as an example, like I've never had anything like react to me, like it knew I was there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
It
strange.
was weird. It was weird.
Yeah, I love weird stories like that. So that's definitely cool.
I appreciate. I like to talk about weird stuff. I like weird stories too.
Very cool.
Um,
Well, we appreciate you coming up and sharing your story, and hopefully you hang out with us tonight and listen to some more stories. And if you want to come back some other time and share some more, please feel free.
Absolutely, thank y'all.
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much.
A Rod, you sent me a picture. Where did you send it to?
All right, guys, we got a little less than 30 minutes left in the show tonight. We are on what night? How many nights is it now? Is it like 3 nights of our marathon? I don't know. We've been here since Sunday, so however many nights that is, we'll be here
4.
till Monday. So we're almost done with the marathon. It's crazy. I can't even believe it. But we've got about, well, we usually end at about 2. So we got less than 30 minutes in the show left tonight. So if you have any stories you want to share, definitely want to hit that box soon because we will be out of time before much longer. Let's go ahead and tap the screen, see if we can get some more people in. PWL, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not entirely sure why you're here because every time I see you comment, you're berating one of my guests. So I'm probably not feeling very inclined to invite you up, but thanks anyway. So, all right, guys, let's get it and end on a strong note tonight.
Oh, hello, Garden.
Hello,
Hi.
welcome.
Hi,
Can
welcome.
can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Um I am an awakening spirit medium. I've chosen to call myself, even though I'm not totally sure if that's exactly the right title for me or not. But I've noticed in the last year or so that I have been more attuned to animal spirit than to human spirit. And I have made friends with a shaman and I pick up things from her. But just this the 1st of May is a Beltane holiday for pagan religions, and I do consider myself pagan in some respects, but I did not remember that it was that holiday. Um, I think of it as May Day, but I don't really necessarily think of it as a pagan like Beltane holiday, but I'm still pretty new to this spiritual journey. It changes every day. But so on the night of April 30th, which would be early morning on Beltane, because it was 3 a.m. when all this stuff started happening. And at 3 a.m. to me is a symbolic time. I like to spend time outside. I have a really nice wraparound porch, and I like to be outside like at all hours of the night, just doing stuff. And I always come in before 3 because I feel like an air change at exactly 3 in the morning, and I feel like I need to like take cover. But on this specific morning of Beltane this year, um, I was sitting on the floor painting and I was using my phone. I remember specifically my phone was at like 54% and it was plugged up to the charger. And I hear a dog barking outside my house. My dogs are in bed with my husband. So I'm like, why is there a dog right outside my door? I have a fenced in yard. There's no reason why there should be a dog out there. But I go to the door and I open it and I have my door open behind me and I step outside and I'm just looking around like is there an animal that needs help or something out here? And I don't see anything and then I get this like shudder that it's like a chill, when the hairs stand up, and you just like feel creeped out for like no reason and I'm like and then I remember that this isn't the first time this has happened. I have heard barking outside of my house a few times and gone to see what it is and I was like, "Oh crap, it's this again." So I turn to go back in my house, and as I'm shutting my door, I hear behind me a bird, like a really loud squawk, like a bird inside my house. And it was so loud that it echoed in my house. I don't have any birds. There's a lot of birds around here, but there's not any birds that sounded like that. Like it sounded like something that would be like in a jungle or a rainforest or something. Like I live in Central America in Missouri. So I was instantly like, what the hell was that? And I try to just get past it and go back to doing what I was doing. So I sit down to go back to painting and I find that my phone is dead. It had totally died. It was plugged up to the charger and it was like almost half battery. And from the time I put it down and opened my back door, my battery totally died. So, and if you guys know anything about a lot of things that they say about the I don't like to use specific terminology because I don't want to call anything to me, but the SKN walkies, um, that come from the ranch, if you know what I'm talking about. They
Yes, I
Yeah.
know what you
often
mean.
they often mimic sounds that will play on your emotions and to get you to go where they want you to go and do what they want you to do. So I felt like something came into my house when I had my door. Something fooled me to open my door. I opened my door, something came into my house and then scared me from inside my house and then drained my phone battery. So I grabbed my backup phone because I was just going to use my backup account and go back to watching lives like I usually do while I paint. That phone was dead too. Now, a weird thing is I have two chargers. Neither of my chargers are working. And this is all happening between like 3 o'clock a.m. and like 3:20. All of these things just one after the next. And I just like am overcome by this feeling of like dread, but it's not fear. It's like self-loathing. It's like this self-loathing feeling that I'm not doing anything right, that I hate my life kind of feelings. And it's just like I'm doing something wrong. I'm in the wrong place. I'm in the wrong time. I should just go to bed. I should just give up on my painting. Like nobody cares. Like just like really mean spirited. And I don't talk to myself. Like I work on my inner dialogue. I don't talk to myself like that usually. And so the next day, I kind of just try to put that experience behind me. But I found my cat dead in my backyard the next morning on Beltane morning. And that's my scary story. Sorry to be a buzzkill. I'm
Oh
gonna laugh
no.
when that's what happened. And I just feel like all of those, either something was here and hurt my cat, or something was trying to warn me that my cat was hurt and I didn't take heed in the right direction. I don't know, but I really feel deeply like all of those instances are linked together. All of those things that happen.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
sorry.
I mean, he's an old cat. He's 15 years old, but he didn't even seem like he was falling down.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that, but thanks
All
for
right,
sharing that with us.
pretty freaky, eh? I might come. You said this is the last night that you guys are doing this.
No, we'll be back tomorrow night. We'll be here all weekend, and then Monday night, and then we're going to take a little break. But we're
Yeah.
usually here. Our normal schedule is Sunday and Monday, but we're doing a marathon week this week. So
Yeah, I've been tuning in just a little bit. It's been pretty entertaining. I have a lot of different stories, but I just kind of honed in on that one because it was so recent and such a fresh feeling to it still. But I'd love to share more sometime, so I'll probably keep coming back.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you so much. Thank you for telling us about that.
Yeah, I'll be listening.
Alrighty.
Have
Have
a
a good
good
night.
night.
Bye.
Oh, I hate to hear about anything happening to a kitty. That
I
always,
know.
you guys know I'm Catwoman, so
And your bird woman.
No,
I've
that.
recently become Bird Woman. Yes, that is true. Parrot Woman, I suppose, technically.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We are
Good on
good. How
yourself?
about you?
You're welcome.
I got a really good story. I don't think I've shared it with on this live yet. Are you guys ready?
Oh boy. Yeah.
So this happened at 3 a.m. as well. Like I think it was 3:30 a.m. I was coming back from work and I was going through a lot of tragedy stuff. And my girlfriend was telling me, okay, so Pete, I came back home from work. I was stressed out, da 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 da, going through training. I saw these three wheels. Like they were so the book of Enoch talked about this, like how angels look, right? And I was not on drugs. I was not drunk. I was straight sober.
Okay, what
Saw
you
these-
gotta, you can't talk about any type of adult. thingamabobs. You know what I mean? So just be
Okay,
careful.
sorry, I apologize. So anyways, I saw these three wheels, and they're like kind of like intermingling with each other, but the energy field was really strong, right? So I started screaming. I was like, "Oh, what the hell's this?" You know, because I was like, what am I seeing?" You know, and then all of a sudden, these stray cats. It's gonna scare you. This is gonna scare everybody, but I gotta say it because I've been telling people about it, and you know, it's real. So these stray cats shapeshifted to Lyrians. If you guys know what a Lyrian is, if you don't, look it up. And they were humongous. So I put my light on, like in my truck, right? I put the light on, and it just went back to regular stray cats, and then they came back. Okay, so like Lyrians are really fearful looking creatures. I'll tell you this much: like the shape shifting Lyrians, like they're known to shapeshift. And freaking I would put the light on from my truck, and then they would go back to a normal cat. And trust me, I'm not crazy. You could fact check me or whatever, but I was talking about this on another live, and they're like, "Dang, I wish I was." I was like, "No, you don't want to see these." So they kept coming back, and it was weird because it was like when the cars would drive by on my street, they would just go back to normal, like a regular stray cat. But when they shapeshifted, oh my god, they'll fucking. You would probably have a heart attack if you would see them. I was just like, "Am I tripping?" So my girlfriend, she's a psychic, and she was just like, those were the gatekeepers. They were helping you out. I was like, what? If you would seeing them though, you would be like, what the fuck am I looking at? So that's my story. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever came across that, but I mean, I know I wasn't tripping. But the light, like when I flashed the light on them, they went back to normal. So I'm just letting you guys know, if you come across that, you always need light. But my girl was saying they're the gatekeepers. They helped you out. So they had a message. I don't know what the fuck it was, but it was fucking true. Oh my, that was probably the most insane thing that's ever happened in my life. Like, I mean, I have a lot of paranormal stories I could talk about, but that was like honestly, the most craziest fucking story I could tell you guys right now. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
I
that's
really, I don't know what to think about that, to be completely honest with you, but we appreciate you either way.
Thank you for your story. That was
Yeah.
interesting.
yeah.
Thank you for coming up. We really appreciate it. All right, guys, it is about that time where we
That
ramble
counts
for
as like
about
a
six or
fae
seven.
story, right?
What is it?
That counts like as a almost like a fae folk story, wouldn't it?
Yeah, maybe. Very
Is it
possibly. Oh, wait,
interdimensional?
is Two Smokes here? Two Smokes, where have you
Oh,
been? We have
you're,
missed you.
yeah.
Now listen here, Two Smokes. You can't be missing live streams this often. You got to be here. You're
We
our,
should look.
you remember those little good luck trolls, and you pet their hair and get good luck. That's Two Smokes.
Yeah,
Um,
we need to bring him up as a guest at some point.
as long as he don't tell his pew pew story,
Yeah, you can't.
but
You got to be careful with your language.
oh my gosh. All right, guys. We got about 10 minutes left in the show. Man, why are you crying in my comments again, bro? Stop crying in my comments. Jesus fucking.
Um.
Anyway, I've had it.
Also,
Listen, dude, you're not gonna disrespect my guests. You can talk crap to me all you want, and I'll take it because I don't care what you say. But you're not gonna
well,
disrespect my guests. Anyway, so real quick, just so that everybody knows, we have a Discord where we do wild and crazy things.
yes.
It's very fun. We have a really great community over there. We have a lot of people. I feel like it's a pretty active place. We share a
Yeah.
lot of cool stuff. If you guys want to be part of the community, all you got to do is hit the subscribe button and come over and join us. We would love to have you. We get new people just about every day, so it's always interesting, always fun. We do like little mini live streams over there, so and in like an intimate setting because there's like a few people will hop on at a time and we'll all just kind of chat and talk and It's very cool. So definitely consider subscribing so that you get access to the Discord. You also get cool emojis like Bigfoot and Mothman. I wish I could spam the chat with them right now, but it takes me forever to type a comment because I have to push like a whole bunch of extra buttons. It's like I'm the host. Shouldn't I have a comment bar or TikTok? But anyway, Ali is awesome. Guys, give Ali a follow. Chris is a horror artist. He does all kinds of cool art stuff. Don't forget to follow me as well. Go check out my videos. I have lots of folklore, storytelling, legends videos. Austin, I'm so sorry we are out of time for the night, but we will be back tomorrow night.
Yes.
Same time, same place. We'll be here at 11 p.m. Eastern to 2 a.m. And I think tomorrow's show is going to be really wild because Tully's going to join us. So we're going to have like the whole panel here. It's going to be great. We're going to have a fun time. So you guys definitely, if you're not doing anything wild and crazy this weekend, come hang out with us here on Paranormally Correct. I think you'll enjoy it. Anything, guys? Anything you want to throw in?
Follow Ali. He sells all kinds of seeds door to door, and he's a great salesman.
Magic beans.
To the beanstalk.
I wish I could sell. Yeah, I wish I could sell magic beans door to door.
Yeah. Yeah, I will. I promised I would do a live about like spiritual protections and stuff like that. If you have a spooky thing and stuff like that, and answer some questions. I'm gonna get to that at some point because I am taking some time off. I did promise that I'm gonna prepare for that. I just gotta clean up some stuff. Lord, it's been a mess. And follow, stay tuned. I think tomorrow or day after tomorrow, whenever I get time and if I'm here early, I'm gonna try to share another folklore story that I've been trying to share with you guys. It's another shapeshifter story, but it's really different.
Awesome.
Very cool. We'll be looking forward to that. So, guys, be here tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have a blast. So, we'll see you all later. Everybody have a good night and stay safe out there. And see you tomorrow.
Bye guys.